So, imagine you're walking down a crowded street.
Okay.
Just a normal day. Maybe you've got a coffee in one hand and you're scrolling through a text message with the other hand.
Right. Totally distracted.
Exactly. And suddenly, bam,
Right.
someone just slams hard into your shoulder.
Oh, no.
Yeah, your phone clatters to the pavement. The coffee just spills all over your shoes. It's a mess.
That is the worst.
Right. Now, I want you to just freeze that moment. In that split second of impact, what is your visceral, unedited gut reaction?
Well, I mean, for almost everyone, the immediate instinct is just hot indignation.
Yeah.
The adrenaline spikes and, we're instantly scanning the scene to establish that we are the victim of someone else's carelessness.
We want someone to blame.
Exactly. We want an apology, and we kind of want the other person to really feel the weight of their mistake.
We want to assign blame because, well, that feels like justice.
It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
But today's deep dive is going to take that universally human default setting and completely upend it. We're exploring this brief but incredibly dense philosophical essay.
Yeah, it's a fascinating piece.
It was published in November 2023 by a writer named Swiffing, and it's titled The Highest Realm of Cultivation.
And what's so interesting is that the author takes these very ordinary, everyday encounters, right? The kind of frustrating, sudden moments of friction that could literally happen to you on any given Tuesday, right?
Just mundane stuff.
And uses them as a ruler to measure what the text calls our mental breadth.
Mental breadth. I love that term.
It's great. It serves as this really fascinating metric for human spiritual development.
Yeah, and we are going to spend a lot of time unpacking that specific phrase today, mental breadth, because the mission of our deep dive here is to explore this concept of personal and spiritual cultivation.
Right.
Like, what does it actually mean to be a cultivated person when our biological instinct, especially in modern society, is so quick to defensiveness and anger?
Exactly. If assigning blame is our biological default, what does it actually look like to override that programming?
Well, Suving answers that question by presenting two drastically different road encounters.
Yeah, these act as, case studies in human reaction.
They really do. They force us to look in the mirror and evaluate our own internal architecture, when we're faced with unexpected friction.
So true.
So the author gives us this perfect, almost jarring example of overriding that default anger in the first story.
Oh, this story is wild.
It really
But-
is. So Sufing shares a memory, and the author notes they can't quite recall the exact origin, right? Like maybe from an English Bible teacher 20 years ago,
Yeah.
or an old American Reader's Digest.
Right. It has that kind of parable feel to it.
Yeah, exactly. So the story sets a scene with this elegant lady walking down the street, and out of nowhere, a man riding a bicycle crashes into her from behind.
Which is terrifying.
Totally. And he knocks her completely down to the ground.
And, this is not a minor brush of shoulders. She is physically knocked over, which immediately triggers this profound sense of physical vulnerability.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the cyclist, he jumps off, he helps her up, and he just begins apologizing profusely.
Naturally, he knows he messed up.
Right. But here's the moment that completely breaks the social script.
Yeah.
The lady dusts herself off, looks at this terrified cyclist, and instead of berating him, she calmly says, "I'm sorry, it was me who blocked your way."
It's stunning.
I mean, she voluntarily takes the blame for being run over.
He does.
And I got to be honest, I struggle with this concept. I really do.
How so?
Well, Shufeng points out that the typical reaction here would be to severely reprimand the cyclist,
Right.
Or demand financial compensation for the injuries.
Of course.
And stepping back and looking at our modern culture, where the first instinct in any accident is to pull out a smartphone,
Oh, definitely.
record the aftermath, scream about liability, isn't her reaction incredibly dangerous?
That's a very common reaction to this story. Like saying, my bad for existing in your path feels less like spiritual cultivation and more like, I don't know, volunteering to be a human doormat.
Right.
Doesn't that just invite predators to walk all over you?
Well, that discomfort you're feeling right now, that is deliberate.
Really?
Yeah, it's the core tension the author is playing with. If we examine Kwefeng's interpretation, the author argues that her words, which explicitly imply the man was right and she, the person knocked down, was wrong,
Yeah.
represent the highest realm of cultivation.
Which just sounds so backwards.
I know. The text actually holds her up as a pinnacle role model.
Mhm.
And the reason it feels so counterintuitive to us is that we view the world through this lens of social and legal fault.
Exactly. Who's to blame?
Right. We tie our personal dignity to public perception. If
Mm.
someone knocks us down and we apologize, society views us as weak.
Yeah, like you're just giving up.
But Kuefeng defines cultivation as an internal state of grace that operates entirely independently of external validation.
Operating on a different frequency altogether.
Precisely. But let's look at the actual mechanism of that interaction. Because
Mm.
letting someone off the hook when they are clearly in the wrong, it feels like it leaves an unresolved imbalance in the air.
Okay, so think of human conflict, particularly ego-driven conflict like physical friction.
Okay, friction.
When two egos collide, like a cyclist hitting a pedestrian, that friction generates intense psychological heat.
Right.
The cyclist expects anger, his own adrenaline is surging, and he's preparing this defensive posture, and all the onlookers, they're waiting for a fight.
Everyone's holding their breath.
Exactly. Normally, the victim's righteous anger provides oxygen to that fire, escalating the hostility.
Yeah.
But by saying, "It was me who blocked your way," the lady acts as a vacuum. She instantly removes all the oxygen from the environment.
Oh, wow. So the fire literally cannot catch.
Exactly. The cyclist has nothing to push his defensiveness against.
Because she relinquished the need to be right.
Yes. And that choice requires immense internal architecture. It takes profound psychological control to override the biological reflex, to lash out when you've just been physically struck.
Right.
She absorbs the impact emotionally so that the social friction just dissolves into nothing.
Okay, I can see the hidden strength there. It's an active, powerful choice to absorb the energy rather than just a passive surrender.
Exactly. It's not weakness at all.
But man, it requires vast mental breadth to genuinely not care that a crowd of strangers might think you're a pushover.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think most of us simply haven't built up that kind of internal fortitude.
Most definitely not.
In fact, if we want to see what the total absence of that internal architecture looks like, the author provides a second memory.
Yes, the other end of the spectrum.
And this one feels intimately relatable to anyone who has ever had a bad commute.
The contrast here is just stark. So Shifeng shares a personal memory from over 30 years ago.
Over 30 years.
Right. It's set on a road in Yusong County, Lansu City.
Okay.
And the author emphasizes that vehicles on this specific road were very scarce at the time.
Oh, so this wasn't like a congested, high-stress gridlock scenario.
No, not at all. It was an open, quiet road.
Okay, got it. And suddenly, the author hears the screeching sound of a truck slamming on its emergency brakes right behind a bicyclist.
And that sound alone is enough to spike your heart rate.
Oh, yeah. So Shiffin turns around to see the truck driver leaning his entire head out the window, absolutely screaming at the cyclist.
Just furious.
He shouts, "Are you looking to die, damn it?"
It's an explosion of disproportionate visceral aggression.
Completely.
And the author provides a very rational commentary on the mechanics of this moment.
Right.
Shufeng points out that if the bicycle was truly in the truck's way, a simple tap of the horn would have served as an adequate warning.
Right. Just a little beep, beep.
Exactly. The screaming, the cursing, the sheer rage, it was entirely unnecessary to solve the physical problem of navigating around a slower vehicle.
This brings up a really fascinating pattern in the essay.
What's that?
Why does Shufeng use traffic accidents for both core examples?
Yeah.
I mean, humans interact constantly, right? In lines at the grocery store, in crowded offices, restaurants. Yet the road serves as this unique theater for our absolute worst impulses.
It really does.
What is it about traveling that violently strips away our social conditioning?
Well, traveling involves momentum and autonomy.
Momentum and autonomy. Okay.
Yeah. When we are moving toward destination, we project a psychological sense of ownership over the space directly in front of us.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Right. Everyday inconveniences are stressful, sure. But when our physical progress is blocked, our brain interprets it as a direct assault on our agency.
So it's personal.
Very personal. The truck driver doesn't really see a bicyclist as an obstacle. He perceives a threat to his dominance over that space.
Wow. The psychological shift from obstacle to mortal enemy happens in an instant.
Instantaneously.
Like, put me in rush hour traffic when I'm running late, and suddenly the person merging slowly in front of me isn't just a bad driver. They're intentionally trying to ruin my day.
Yes, that is the ego desperately trying to reassert control.
Right.
When the truck driver screams, "Are you looking to die?" he is elevating a minor navigational inconvenience to a life-or-death power struggle.
He really is.
He manufactures conflict to soothe his own threatened ego. And the author explicitly states that this driver's behavior is definitely not characteristic of a cultivator.
It represents the absolute inverse of the elegant lady.
Precisely.
I mean, she experienced actual physical harm and chose to absorb the conflict, protecting the stranger's ego.
Right.
Whereas the truck driver experienced a minor delay and chose to weaponize it, prioritizing his own ego over basic human decency.
And by establishing these two extreme ends of the spectrum, the lady's shocking self-blame and the driver's explosive external blame, Shui Feng lays the foundation for the core philosophy of the text.
Because we've witnessed what cultivation looks like in practice and what its complete absence looks like.
Exactly. And from there, the essay shifts gears. It systematically breaks down the exact psychological requirements needed to climb to that highest realm.
Right. The narrative transitions into this codified framework.
Yeah.
Shui Feng outlines a clear progression for what it takes to be a cultivator.
Yeah.
And, I think of it kind of like a martial arts ranking system.
Oh, I like that analogy.
But instead of learning how to physically fight, you are learning how to systematically dismantle your own ego.
That's a great way to put it.
And you must master the foundational belt before you can progress to the next tier.
Right. So the baseline, let's call it the white belt, is defined by foundational ethical standards.
Okay, fair though.
The text states cultivators refrain from scolding, hitting, hurting, annoying, harming, or provoking others.
Okay.
Furthermore, they communicate kindly and behave appropriately.
On the surface, that just sounds like simple kindergarten rules.
Yeah, do no harm.
Right. But when you truly examine that list, particularly the word annoying,
Ah, yes.
the standard is incredibly demanding.
It really is.
Because refraining from annoying others requires a constant hypervigilant awareness of how you occupy physical and emotional space.
Absolutely.
It means constantly monitoring your volume, your tone, your habits, your complaints. Just maintaining that white belt level is a massive, exhausting daily undertaking for most adults.
Oh, it's exhausting because it requires moving your center of attention entirely outward.
Right.
You cannot avoid annoying someone unless you are actively prioritizing their comfort above your own convenience.
That's tough.
It is. That outward attention is the core mechanism of restraint. And once you stabilize that baseline, you're ready for the middle tier, the brown belt, in your allergy.
Okay, the brown belt.
Shui Feng describes this level as possessing spiritual maturity and mental breadth.
Here's that phrase again, mental breadth.
Yes.
The author defines this specific tier as the ability to acknowledge your own mistakes and give credit to others.
And the psychological shift required here is profound.
How so?
Well, doing no harm is fundamentally passive.
Yeah, you're just refraining from things.
Exactly. But acknowledging mistakes requires active vulnerability.
Oh, I see.
To genuinely say, I was wrong, and you were right, you have to detach your sense of self-worth from the concept of being flawless.
Right.
Your ego has to shrink enough to allow someone else's competence to shine without feeling internally diminished by their success.
You essentially have to become comfortable leaving a smaller footprint in the room.
Exactly.
I understand the mechanics of that. I really do. But here is where Shui Feng takes a massive, almost alarming leap.
Yeah, the final tier is intense.
Because we progress from don't be a nuisance to admit when you were wrong. That's a logical, healthy progression.
Sure.
But what is the black belt? What is the final boss of cultivation according to this framework?
It's heavy. The author states that to reach the absolute highest realm of cultivation, one must be willing to sacrifice their own honor, dignity, property, status, or even their lives to protect the honor, dignity, property, status, or lives of others.
Okay, let's pause and really look at the implications of that statement. Because to me, it borders on reckless.
It does sound extreme.
Right. Sacrificing your own life to protect someone else's status.
Yeah.
We aren't just talking about pushing a child out of the way of a speeding train here.
No, it goes much further than physical safety.
Shui Feng is suggesting giving up your own dignity or property to shield another person's social standing.
Yes.
Where is the line between ultimate spiritual cultivation and complete self-destruction?
Well, that discomfort you're feeling, again, points to the true weight of the philosophy.
Okay.
Shui Feng isn't advocating for, foolish martyrdom, but rather detailing the total dissolution of the selfish ego.
The total dissolution.
Right. If we look back at the elegant lady on the street, we can see this mechanism operating in miniature.
Oh, right.
She sacrificed her own public dignity by claiming she was at fault for being run over to
Yes.
protect a stranger from public shame and overwhelming guilt.
She willingly surrendered a piece of her own honor to build a shield for him.
She did. And the text scales that micro-interaction all the way up to its most extreme logical conclusion. The underlying premise is that true spiritual maturity means you no longer view your own life, status, or property as inherently more valuable than anyone
That's a
else's.
huge paradigm shift.
It's massive. Your internal architecture is so secure, so vastly developed in its mental breadth,
There it is again.
that losing your property or your social status doesn't actually destroy you. Your identity is no longer tethered to those fragile external constructs.
So the ultimate cultivator is someone who literally has nothing left to protect.
Exactly.
If my ego is gone, my desperate need for public dignity vanishes.
Right.
If I don't care about accumulating wealth, my attachment to property evaporates.
Yes.
I become an entirely fluid entity. I can step in front of any physical or social bullet for you because those bullets lack the power to damage my core spirit anymore.
That realization is the profound peak of the ladder.
Incredible.
It transcends basic ethics and enters a state of radical, boundaryless empathy. You become the ultimate shock absorber for the suffering of the world around you.
Let's trace the arc of what we've unpacked today.
Yeah, let's look at the whole picture.
We started with the visceral shock of being bumped into on the sidewalk.
The spilled coffee.
Right. From there, Shifeng challenged us with the elegant lady who absorbed the physical blow of a bicycle crash and responded by taking the blame.
Starving the conflict of its necessary oxygen.
Exactly. Then we contrasted her restraint with the truck driver who weaponized a minor travel delay to feed his own threatened ego.
Such a stark difference.
It really is. And finally, we climbed the author's ladder of cultivation, moving from simply doing no harm to the profound vulnerability of admitting mistakes, all the way to the breathtaking standard of sacrificing everything.
Even our physical existence.
Yeah, to shield another human being.
The essay completely redefines the concept of strength.
It really does.
The world teaches us that strength looks like the truck driver asserting dominance out of a window.
Yeah, being loud and aggressive.
Right. But Shifeng argues that true, unshakable strength is the lady quietly taking the blame on the pavement.
It leaves you with a lot of heavy questions about your own mental breadth.
For sure.
Think about where you currently sit on that ladder. Sometime today, or maybe tomorrow, you are going to be tested.
Oh, inevitably.
Someone will cut you off in traffic, or block your path in a hallway, or send a dismissive email.
And when that inevitable friction sparks...
Which reaction will you choose? Will you provide oxygen to the fire, or will you choose to act as the vacuum?
And as you navigate those daily moments of friction, consider one final provocative implication of Yufeng's philosophy.
What's that?
Well, the text defines the absolute peak of cultivation as the willingness to sacrifice your life, status, or dignity to protect someone else from harm.
Right. Becoming the ultimate shield for another person.
Which raises an incredible paradox for you to ponder.
Definitely.
If the highest spiritual state requires giving everything up to shield another person from danger or suffering,
Yeah.
does true cultivation inherently require the existence of danger, conflict, and suffering to be fully realized?
Wow.
Can a person ever actually reach the highest realm in a perfectly safe, harmonious world? Or is the murky, unpredictable, and sometimes painful collision of human life the exact necessary ingredient we need to discover our own mental breadth?